Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the basic components that we need for a solar system, and we're also going to see how it is connected. So let's get started. The first item on our list is the battery, and the second one is the inverter. The third one is your solar charge controller, and the last one and the fourth one is the solar panel. This is a lead acid tubular battery. It is a 220 amp hour 12 volt battery. It is important to know the terminals of this battery. So that's why you see the negative inscribed on it and as well the positive inscribed on it. Your battery is where the power coming from your solar panel is stored for use. Let's say you store your power during the day and at night. It is from this battery that you are going to be using power from. This is your inverter. It is the part of the system that converts the power in your battery to usable AC in the house. Now, this inverter is a pure sine wave inverter. And of course, if you look at the back of the inverter, you're going to see that it has a positive and a negative terminal coming out of it. Now, these ones are the connection points to your batteries. The red wire is usually the positive and the black one is usually the negative. Now, there's another wire that is coming out of it. That is the wire that makes it act as a UPS when you connect it to your grid power. So let's say you connect it to your grid power and there's power outage. What happens is that it automatically connects to your battery and uses it to feed whatever appliance or that you are connecting to it. It also charges your batteries just like your UPS does when it is connected to the grid. Looking at the back of the inverter, we can see the rating and the voltage in which this inverter operates. So in this case, it is a 1000 VA, which is equivalent to 1 kVA. And if you are converting that to watts, it's going to be about 800 watts. So the capacity of this inverter is about 800 watts and the voltage is 12 volts. Now, the reason why this is important is that if you have a battery, like we saw earlier, that is 12 volts, that means you can connect this one to it. But if this system was 24 volts, we cannot connect it to that battery because the battery is 12 volts. So it's important to note that. If you look at the back as well, you see some settings there. Not all inverters have this though. Now, the first one is for the size of the battery. So big battery, small battery, so that's the setting for it. And the middle one is for the type of battery. Remember we mentioned that the battery we're using is tubular battery. Yes, so that's where the setting is. Then the one on the right has to do with the UPS mode. Then of course you can see that it has a fuse and it has an AC outlet. When it's connected to your battery, you can get your AC output directly from that outlet. This is our charge controller. This particular one is called a PWM solar charge controller. Now what this one basically does is that the power that you get from your solar panel, it uses it to charge your batteries. Now without this, your battery will charge continuously until it is damaged. So that's where the solar charge controller comes in. If you look at the charge controller, it has 6 connecting points. Out of the 6 connecting points, 2 of them are usually connected to the solar panel, 2 of them are connected to the batteries, and 2 of them are connected to any load that you want to use your charge controller to power, 12 volts precisely. So that is what the last 2 is meant for. Most people don't usually use that one, but the solar panel and the battery is a must use. Now if you look at the face of the charge controller as well, you're going to see a USB port there. So it's used for charging your phone or anything that has a USB port on it. Now looking closely at the connecting points, you can see that the one that is used for your solar panel, there's an inscription of solar panel on it. The one that is used for your battery, there's a battery inscription on it. And of course, the positive and the negative on it as well. So you don't want to connect it wrongly. So you want to make sure that your battery, the positive and the negative. I think I mentioned that earlier. So it is very important. Then looking at the rating of the charge controller, we can see that it is meant for a 12 or 24 volt system. Now this is also very important. And of course, we can see that the charging current is 30 amps. So finally, this is our solar panel. This one is 150 watts. Now all this panel just needs is to be placed under the sun, and all it does is generate power. Now as usual with everything we have seen, this solar panel also has a positive and a negative wire coming from the back of it. Now that we have looked at the different components that make a solar system, it is time to connect the different components. Now, the very first step you want to take in connecting it is to connect the battery to the solar charge controller. That's always the first step to take. Now, in connecting it, you have to connect the positive of the battery to the positive of the charge controller. The same with the negative. Now, one of the reasons why you want to do this is that the solar charge controller comes with different voltages most of the time. So in this case, it's a 12-24 volt solar charge controller. So the moment you connect the battery to the solar charge controller, it registers that you are using the 12 volts part of it. So that's why you want to connect that first. Now, the second step is to connect your solar panel to your charge controller after you have done the first connection. So you also want to ensure that the positive goes to the positive and the negative goes to the negative. Now, while connecting your charge controller to your battery, you may want to use that opportunity to connect your inverter as well, because they are going to the same terminals. So that way, you are not going to mistakenly disconnect the charge controller that you have already connected. So it's a very good idea to just connect the two of them all at once. So that's how I'm doing it here. So basically, this is how you connect your solar system. And if you look at our charge controller, you can see that we are getting 1 amp. That is the charging current we are getting from the solar panel. Although we could have easily gotten more, but the sun was already setting at the time of this experiment. So this is just the basic way of connecting your solar panels. Now remember that when the panels increase, the batteries increase, and you are even using a bigger capacity inverter and the charge controller, everything begins to change very rapidly. So you don't want to go beyond this if you haven't learned how to do it. If you haven't already seen what this 150 watt solar panel can generate in a day, check the top of your screen for the video or check the description down below. And don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below as well. See you and catch you on the next one. You can see charging.